I watched you look in the mirror this morning and mentally list every reason you are not enough. You are waiting for the reason I love you. You think it is tied to how much you can fix today. Do not scroll past this. If you walk away now, you will spend another decade trying to earn a love that was already handed to you. You will keep paying a heavy debt that does not exist. I saw the way your shoulders tightened before you even left the bedroom. You began rehearsing the conversations you need to have. You planned exactly how to make everyone else happy. My beloved child, you have been running on an empty tank for a very long time. You hide it well from the people who live in your house, but you have never once hidden your deep exhaustion from me. I am telling you what is happening, and I am telling you now. I do not speak to an empty room. Before this hour is over, you will understand why your tiredness has no end. You will feel the flawless shield you carry finally drop to the floor. And you will speak the one sentence that cancels your strict contract with slavery. I am tearing that bitter contract up right now. You are the one who carries everything. You lift the weight for your family and your friends, and you do it while smiling, so they never worry. Stop for just 1 second. I need you to make a choice right now. Type yes if you are carrying too much. Put it in the comments so your own eyes can clearly see it. Acknowledging the heavy weight is the very first step to setting it down. That tightness in your chest is not a medical mystery. It is the terrible cost of auditioning for grace. You have convinced yourself that my affection is a wage. You believe you must work a 12-hour spiritual shift to afford my love. So you say yes to every single request. You never complain out loud. You swallow your own tears because you think a good child is a quiet child. But that is only the surface of the wound. You perform your goodness because you are terrified of what happens if you stop. You believe the people around you will walk away if you cease to be useful to them. And worse than that, you believe I will turn my face away too. You think my love is a daily wage paid to the useful servant. That is the dark lie that is draining your entire life. I am going to break that lie into pieces tonight. Stay here. Do not close this message. There is a reason I love you, and it has absolutely nothing to do with your daily performance. The truth about why you are loved will rewrite every morning of your future. I am not going to let you walk back into the dark. I am holding the heavy door open with my own 2 hands. My exhausted pleaser, let us look at the hard days you have survived. I was there when you took on the blame for things you did not break. You apologized for massive messes you did not make. You did it just to keep the peace in a room that did not care about your peace. You thought you were being righteous. You were actually just bleeding out quietly while everyone else stayed dry. No one asks you how you are doing anymore. They do not ask because you have trained them to believe you never need help. You built a tall fortress of competence around yourself. Now you are trapped inside it. You sit inside that fortress and wonder why it feels so cold. I know the sharp chill of that room. I felt it every time you cried silently into your pillow at 2 in the morning. Child of the heavy yoke, you have been carrying the world and calling it devotion. You look at the people you serve and wonder if they see you at all. They see exactly what you do for them. They do not see what it constantly costs you, but I count the steep cost. I have tallied every single ounce of energy you poured into people who gave you nothing in return. Not 1 ounce was missed. You are so tired that even good news feels like a burden. When someone offers an opportunity, your first thought is how much work it will require. That is not how a free person lives. That is how a tired prisoner survives. You are serving a harsh sentence I never handed down to you. You placed yourself in a cell of perfectionism and handed the key to the loud noise of the world. I am not angry with you for trying so hard. Your desperate heart was looking for safety. A child who feels unsafe will build any bridge they can find to reach love. You built a wide bridge of constant labor. You worked beautifully, and you loved fiercely. You did everything they asked of you and a lot more. But the bridge you built is standing over the wrong river, and it is about to collapse. You cannot fix this deep damage by trying harder. You cannot solve an exhaustion problem with more daily discipline. The issue is not your stamina. The issue is the broken story you are telling yourself about my heart. You think I am a greedy merchant. You think I stand behind a counter weighing your good deeds against your failures. We need to walk out of that marketplace forever. Heir to the quiet house, I am bringing you home. Before I can show you the real reason I love you, we must dismantle the false ones. We must look at the toxic lies you swallowed when you were too young to know better. You accepted a heavy burden from hands that were not mine. Set it down right now, just for this 1 hour. Let the weight fall. We have serious work to do together. I was there in the room with you last Tuesday night when the exhaustion pushed you to the edge. You picked up your phone to ask for help. You typed out exactly how deeply tired you were. And then you stared at the glowing screen while old fears rushed back into your mind. You erased every single word you wrote. You typed out that you were completely fine instead. I saw the painful truth you deleted. You delete your truth constantly. You do it to protect the people who rely on your endless strength. But holding up a false wall of strength is slowly crushing you from the inside out. The heavy stones of that wall are pressing down on your chest right now. You walk into a kitchen and instantly read the mood before you even speak so you can fix it. That is a terrible and lonely way to live. I hear the quiet objection you would never say aloud to anyone. It does not feel like an objection to you at all. It feels like plain and brutal honesty. You are thinking that this message was meant for someone much better. You believe it belongs to someone whose hands are much cleaner than yours. Someone whose faith held strong when your own faith quietly fell apart. You truly think you are disqualified. I am not going to tell you that your memory is entirely wrong. You know exactly what mistakes you carry. I know your personal failures far more completely than you do. I know the parts you have never forgiven yourself for. But you have completely misread who this open door is actually for. You strongly believe my grace belongs to the ready. It has always belonged to the broken ones willing to admit they are empty. Your unbearable honesty in this very moment is not a thick wall between us. It is the only open door there has ever been. The people who arrive perfectly certain of their own worth bring me absolutely nothing I can work with. You have brought me the painful truth about your own limits. Do you understand how rare that deep courage is? I did not come looking for a finished masterpiece tonight. I came looking for you. You have spent your entire life trying to be a finished masterpiece. You thought my affection was a golden prize you had to earn. You treated my love like fragile glass that would shatter if you made one simple mistake. So you walked on eggshells in your own house. You polished the outside perfectly while your tired inside was starving for genuine rest. I never once asked for a performance. It breaks my heart to watch you work so desperately for something you already own. You look at your tired hands and wonder if they have done enough good deeds to please me. They have done far too much. You have been carrying the massive expectations of a demanding world that does not truly love you. You hauled that heavy baggage into my house and assumed I wanted you to keep it. I want you to drop it immediately. I am going to ask you to do something physical right now. I am not asking you for money or a massive promise you cannot keep. I am asking you to make a quiet declaration in front of me. A painful thought that stays inside your head can still be argued with tomorrow morning. A powerful truth you write down becomes a solid stone you can firmly stand on. You desperately need a solid stone to stand on tonight. Right now, you are someone who only heard this message. In 30 seconds, you can easily be someone who actively claimed it. I want you to officially reject the false burden. Write the weight is not mine. Put those exact words in the comments below. Let your own hands type the sentence that begins your actual freedom from this endless cycle. I read what my children write. Leave your heavy baggage right there on the floor. You just made a very important and beautiful choice. You finally stopped defending the endless exhaustion that is destroying you. Most people will fiercely defend their heavy chains because they are secretly afraid of walking freely. You are different. You are finally willing to question the harsh rules you have been blindly living under. We are going to look closely at those toxic rules now. We are going to expose the dark lie. Think about the terrible way you treat yourself when you fall short. You use a harsh tone of voice you would never dare use on a stranger. You act as your own angry judge and your own swift executioner. You hold a strict court inside your own chest every single night before you sleep. You relentlessly punish yourself for not being perfectly helpful to everyone. I never called that cruel court into session. You have confused my holy presence with the loud voice of an angry taskmaster. The taskmaster demands endless labor and constantly reminds you of your deep flaws. My voice brings absolute peace and settles the chaotic waters of your anxious mind. You are so accustomed to the noise of the taskmaster that my quiet love feels deeply unfamiliar to you. You are afraid to fully trust a love without a long list of chores. Let me describe a scene you know intimately well. You were sitting alone in your car just a few days ago. The engine was turned off, and you stared at the steering wheel while hot tears streamed down your tired face for absolutely no clear reason. You were not crying because of a grand tragedy. You wept because the invisible pressure of holding everyone else together finally crushed your exhausted spirit. Your chest felt incredibly tight, and your breathing was shallow. You felt completely trapped in a life you carefully built to serve others. Everyone around you assumes you have everything perfectly under control. They happily hand you their chaotic problems because you always know exactly how to organize the massive mess. They never see the silent panic attacks that happen behind your locked bathroom door. You wiped your face quickly before anyone could see. You severely scolded yourself for being so incredibly fragile. You told yourself that a much stronger person would easily handle all these simple responsibilities without breaking down into endless tears. You silently promised to try harder tomorrow, my beloved child. That harsh judgment is entirely false. You are not weak, and your spirit is not defective. Your intense breaking point has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of personal strength. You have survived terrible storms that would have easily destroyed the angry people who constantly criticize you. A weak person does not carry an entire family through a long decade of deep crisis. You are collapsing because the fundamental structure of your daily life is built on a devastating falsehood. Here is the powerful truth no one has ever told you. Exhaustion does not simply come from the physical weight you carry. It comes from the terrible belief that your personal worth must be constantly purchased with your own blood and daily sacrifice. You have deeply confused my unconditional love with a brutal economic transaction. I am going to name this toxic system so you can finally escape it. This is the merchant's lie. The merchant's lie aggressively whispers that you are only valuable when you are actively solving problems. It tells you that grace is a luxury item you must afford with endless acts of difficult service. So you eagerly accept heavy burdens that I never once assigned to you. You carry your grown child's poor decisions as if they were your own personal failures. You silently absorb your family's bitter anxiety. You carry all of this heavy baggage like a desperate servant trying to buy a single moment of genuine approval. A merchant only values you for what you can easily produce. But a father values you simply because you are breathing in the room. The toxic merchant in your mind has kept you running on a dreadful treadmill for 40 long years. It is time to aggressively unplug the dangerous machine. Look back at the long years you have brutally judged yourself for. You thought you were constantly failing because you were always so utterly tired. You were not failing at all. You were actively hauling massive bags of rocks that belonged to other people. You dragged them up a steep hill trying to purchase my affection. A heavily loaded soul that keeps walking is not lazy. She is incredibly faithful. I saw your astonishing faithfulness through every dark and lonely season. Even when you felt completely disconnected from me, I was quietly watching your tired hands work. You gave away your last dollar and your last hour of sleep to greedy people who barely thanked you for your massive sacrifice. You thought you were performing a holy duty, but the heavy labor you offered was never the currency I actually wanted. The merchant's lie tricked you into building a frantic marketplace right inside my holy sanctuary. You brought me your impressive resume of painful sacrifices instead of bringing me your wounded heart. I do not buy and sell my precious children, I only embrace them. The endless transactions you tried to make with heaven were entirely rejected because the terrible debt was completely paid a long time ago. Today I am ending your exhausting shift in that dark marketplace. I am asking you to do one incredibly small thing to break the vicious cycle. I do not want a grand promise you will quickly break by next Tuesday. I want you to ask yourself one simple question before you excitedly say yes to another massive favor. Before you eagerly step in to fix their terrible mess, ask this exactly: am I doing this out of love or out of panic? When you realize the honest answer is panic, you must stop immediately. You must gently put the heavy situation back down on the hard ground. Leaving a burden that does not belong to you is never an act of selfish abandonment. It is an act of holy obedience. You are finally returning the heavy responsibility back to the specific person who actually needs to carry it. You step out of the way so they can learn to walk alone. The merchant's lie loses all its dark power the exact moment you refuse to pay the daily toll. Step out of the terrible transaction today. Your immense value is not determined by how many hot fires you successfully put out for your friends. You are highly cherished even when you are sitting perfectly still with totally empty hands. I need you to finally believe that my brilliant love is a free gift and not a demanding employer. Remember the dark marketplace I just named for you. The heavy burden of the merchant lie has broken your tired back for far too long. Come with me now and look at the beautiful room behind that closed door. Let me show you a quiet morning where you are absolutely not carrying it. You have paid a massive price, and now it is time to see your genuine reward. Come with me to an ordinary morning a season from now. The bright sun is barely coming through your kitchen window. You are holding a warm cup of coffee in your hands. Suddenly the heavy glass slips from your fingers and shatters on the hard floor. The warm liquid spills everywhere across the tiles, and you do not instantly freeze in pure panic. Your tight shoulders stay exactly where they belong. Notice what is beautifully missing in that quiet room. The harsh voice in your head does not start screaming at you. You do not aggressively call yourself stupid or careless. The familiar wave of deep shame simply does not arrive today. You just grab a towel and wipe up the mess, because a simple mistake is no longer a brutal verdict on your personal worth. You breathe in the calm air. That calm morning is not a silly fantasy, my child. That peaceful version of you already exists right now. She is not hiding somewhere, thousands of miles away. She is standing on the other side of one heavy thing you are still desperately holding on to. You are still holding the false belief that you must be perfectly useful to be deeply loved. We are going to destroy that belief. The vast distance between you and that morning is not time, it is permission. And genuine permission is not something you must wait to be handed by a powerful judge. It is a powerful word you say out loud in an empty room. Say it tonight before you sleep. Say that your immense worth is not a wage you earn. The morning I just showed you will instantly start walking toward your house. If you are truly ready to leave the marketplace, make a physical move right now. Do not just nod your tired head and scroll away. Put your solid decision in writing where my eyes can clearly see it. Type, "I stop paying for grace." Let your own hands officially cancel the terrible debt, because I am reading exactly what you write down in this very moment. You are claiming your freedom. There is a second layer to your deep exhaustion. We must look at it closely if you want to be completely free from the heavy weight. Think about the last time you had to submit a project or make a simple decision. You checked the tiny details 4 different times. You rewrote the exact same email 5 times before you finally hit send. Your stomach tied itself into painful knots over a minor choice. You are absolutely terrified of making a visible mistake. You constantly obsess over small flaws because you think a minor error will destroy your entire reputation. You keep your creative work hidden in a dark drawer, and you silently abandon your lovely ideas because they are not completely flawless yet. I saw you throw away a magnificent project because of one tiny blemish nobody else even noticed. You have a very polite excuse for this exhausting behavior. You tell your friends you just have incredibly high standards. You tell yourself that true excellence requires constant suffering and endless anxiety. And in your darkest moments, you secretly believe that I am waiting for you to fail. You think heaven is an angry inspector holding a red pen to mark your daily mistakes. That is a devastating tragedy, beloved. Hear me clearly today. I am not an angry judge, eagerly looking for reasons to punish you. I do not demand absolute perfection before I allow you to step into the warm light. That harsh standard was entirely invented by a frightened world, and it was never spoken by my gentle voice. You did not learn that brutal perfectionism from my Holy Spirit. You learned it from deeply broken people who unfairly judged you when you were small and incredibly vulnerable. They made you believe that love was conditional on your flawless performance. So you built a heavy shield of perfection to protect your fragile heart from their sharp criticism. I am telling you today that the war is over. You do not need that heavy shield anymore. Your tired hands are bleeding from holding that heavy shield up for so many years. You think your extreme perfectionism is a noble virtue that makes you a better person, but it is actually a dark prison that keeps you completely isolated from the people who desperately want to love the real you. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the exact name of this prison. You are going to walk out of it today. Here is the honest truth about your intense need to be perfect. Perfectionism is absolutely not a sign of high standards. It is a brilliant hiding place with very beautiful lighting. You secretly believe that if your work is entirely flawless, no one will ever have the right to judge your soul, so you hide behind your shiny achievements. I am naming this behavior today. This is the flawless shield. The terrible tragedy of your perfect shield is that it works too well. People look at your flawless life and they deeply admire you. But admiration is absolutely not the same thing as love. You can only be truly loved when you are truly known. And nobody knows the incredibly tired person hiding behind the heavy armor. You are starving for affection while drowning in empty applause. I never wanted your impressive resume. I only ever wanted your messy and broken heart. When you constantly hide your failures from me, you are actually hiding yourself from the only one who can heal you. The shield protects you from harsh judgment, but it also completely blocks you from receiving genuine comfort. You must drop the heavy metal if you want to feel the warmth of the sun again. Now look back with me at all those long years of careful striving. Think about the drawer full of half-finished projects, the beautiful ideas you never shared because they were not completely ready yet. You were not being arrogant or overly ambitious in those quiet moments. You were simply guarding a deep wound. You decided long ago that being unfinished was far more dangerous than being invisible. So, I am giving you a very strange assignment for today. I do not want you to try harder or do better. I want you to do one small thing badly on purpose. Send the email with a typo in it. Leave the dishes in the sink for an extra hour. Deliberate imperfection is the only weapon that can shatter the shield, because it proves that you survive when people see your tiny flaws. I know the heavy thought that is moving through your mind right now. You are sitting there thinking that you have heard all of this before. You have listened to sermons about grace. You have read the scriptures 1,000 times. You made the grand promise to rest and you kept it for 11 days, but you completely broke it on the 12th. And the long year ended exactly where it began. You are telling me the absolute truth, my child. I will not argue with your own painful history. You lived every exhausting hour of it, and I was sitting right there with you in the dark. But hear the massive difference between what you tried and what I am offering. You tried to fix a spiritual wound with better human behavior. You reached for a new discipline instead of reaching for a new identity. What you desperately tried was simply behavior modification. You woke up earlier, you prayed much longer, you built a strict routine, and you carried it until your physical strength gave out entirely. And human strength always gives out eventually, because that is exactly what human strength was designed to do. It was never meant to hold a massive burden of self-hatred for 40 long years. I am not asking you to reach for another heavy branch of discipline today. I am speaking of the deep root beneath the heavy branch. You did not fail to earn my love because you were too weak. You failed to earn it because my love is completely unpurchasable. You worked faithfully for decades on the entirely wrong layer of the problem. That is why you are still deeply tired. Do you fully understand the radical shift I am asking of you tonight? It is terrifying to step out into the open without your familiar armor. Your entire survival strategy has been built on proving your daily worth. Tearing down that massive system feels incredibly dangerous to your anxious mind. But the false safety of your prison is slowly suffocating your beautiful and radiant spirit. The noise of the world wants you to stay on that exhausting treadmill forever. It wants you to believe that if you slip just once, the entire sky will fall on your head. That is a vicious and calculated lie, designed to keep you paralyzed. The sky is firmly held up by my hands alone. Your tiny mistakes do not threaten the solid foundation of my absolute sovereignty over your entire life. Feel the intense heat of this revelation burning away the old agreements. You are no longer a frightened servant negotiating for a tiny scrap of bread. The heavy chains of constant performance are snapping in half right now. You are an heir to a kingdom that was completely secured before you were even born. Nothing you do today can buy it, and nothing you fail to do can forfeit it. Let the brutal reality of that truth wash over you right now. Every single tear you shed trying to be good enough was collected by a father who already thought you were perfect. You have been running a grueling marathon to reach a house you already live inside. Stop running. Drop the heavy shield. The door is wide open and the warm table is fully set for you. I know exactly what happens when the house goes completely silent at the end of the day. You sit in the dark and secretly calculate your own worth. You weigh your tiny victories against your massive failures to see if you still qualify for my love. You constantly wonder if today is the day I finally give up on your messy life. You expect my deep patience to simply run out. You believe that my affection is a very fragile string that will snap under pressure. You think I am sitting on a high throne keeping a strict ledger of your daily mistakes. You are absolutely convinced that I only love you because of the good things you desperately do for other people. That is the most devastating lie you have ever believed. I do not love you for your exhausting labor. Let me reveal the hidden root of this deep fear right now. You project the highly conditional love of broken people onto a perfect and faithful father. You return to the familiar door of transactional love because you were raised in a house where affection had a steep price tag. You were taught that love was a rare reward for flawless behavior, so you transferred that cruel human system onto heaven. That is exactly why you are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You subconsciously choose relationships where you have to constantly earn your keep because that painful dynamic feels incredibly safe to you. The familiar pain of proving your worth feels much safer than the terrifying vulnerability of being loved for absolutely nothing. You are repeating a painful cycle because true grace terrifies you. Now look back at all the desperate times you tried to be perfectly good. You were not being holy or righteous in those frantic and anxious moments. You were simply a wounded child desperately trying to pay off a massive debt that did not even exist. You were trying to purchase a safe home, using the worthless currency of your own deep exhaustion. I watched you bleed for a prize you already owned. The exhausting cycle officially ends tonight in this very room. I am tearing the cruel ledger completely in half. Hear me where you make your most important decisions. My love for you is not a daily wage you must earn through hard work. It is an eternal inheritance you simply receive with open hands. A wage depends entirely on your daily performance. An inheritance depends entirely on your birthright. You are not a tired employee in my holy house. You are a beloved heir to the entire eternal kingdom. So the bitter argument ends right here and right now, not softens, ENDS. You are not a massive disappointment. You are not a heavy burden to carry. You are not the tragic exception to my endless faithfulness. Lift your tired head and look directly at me. You are my beautiful child. Let that absolute truth settle deep into your tired bones. Do not rush past this holy moment to find another urgent task to complete. Stay in this quiet room with me. Feel the heavy chains of constant performance falling off your tired shoulders. The terrible debt is completely canceled forever. You never have to prove your worth to me or anyone else ever again. The long trial is completely over. Someone you know is silently dying under the exact same heavy burden tonight. They are sitting in their own dark room believing they are completely unlovable. They think their massive mistakes have permanently disqualified them from receiving any genuine affection. Send this message to them right now. Tell them exactly why you thought of their face. That one sentence from you will matter more than anything I have said. When you send this to them today, write one honest sentence of your own. Do not just forward it blindly into the void. Tell them you see how hard they are trying and that they do not have to try anymore. You are holding the heavy keys to their prison cell in your hands right now. Use your brave voice to set them completely free from the merchant lie. You are no longer a frightened servant begging for a small crumb of grace. You are a fully restored heir standing boldly in the center of your own house. Act like it tomorrow morning. When the loud noise of the world demands your polished resume of good deeds, you will refuse to show it. You will simply state your holy name. You belong here, and you always have. Hear this before you go. There is a terrible cost to living another year under the strict arrangement you have built. I am not warning you about an angry enemy tonight. I am warning you about a devastating habit. If you choose to pick that heavy shield back up tomorrow morning, you will easily survive. You always survive. But surviving is not the beautiful life I designed for you. The actual cost is paid very quietly in the background of your life. It is paid in the deep sighs you hide from your family. It is paid in the complete loss of your own genuine joy. If you continue to desperately audition for a conditional love you already own eternally, you will slowly disappear. You will become a very efficient machine that serves everyone but truly knows no one at all. You will wake up 10 years from now and realize you spent your entire life working for free. You will look back at your exhausting history and see a million flawless performances, but absolutely zero moments of actual peace. I refuse to let that dark tragedy happen to you. I did not breathe my holy life into your lungs just so you could be a convenient tool. You were made for absolute freedom. Remember the dark marketplace we just destroyed together. Remember the heavy merchant lie that kept you running on that exhausting treadmill. Now come and see what an ordinary evening looks like when you are no longer standing inside that cruel marketplace. Let me show you the magnificent house that is patiently waiting for you on the other side of your frantic labor. Come with me to a quiet evening before these trees turn again. It is a completely normal weekday and nothing spectacular has been announced. You are sitting in a comfortable chair in your own living room. Your hands are resting empty in your lap. You are absolutely not fixing a single thing. Someone else in the house drops a heavy book and your tired body does not flinch at all. Notice what is beautifully missing in that warm room. The urgent need to stand up and manage the situation is completely gone. The familiar guilt of simply resting has vanished from your chest. You do not feel the agonizing pressure to prove you deserve to sit in that chair. And the quiet space around you does not feel like a terrifying void you must frantically fill with endless chores. You are simply breathing the calm air and existing. You watch the dust dance in the soft light of the lamp. You are fully present in your own beautiful life instead of relentlessly managing everyone else. That is the miraculous part you cannot picture from where you are standing today. You are sitting perfectly still with empty hands, and nothing inside your busy mind is loudly screaming at you. That peaceful evening is absolutely not a silly fantasy. That restored version of you already exists right now. She is not being magically assembled somewhere far away from pieces you do not have yet. She is standing right on the other side of one heavy thing you are still gripping tightly. You are gripping the false belief that you cannot be at peace until everyone else is perfectly happy. The short distance between you and that beautiful evening is not a matter of time. It is a matter of giving yourself the permission to finally rest, and you are the only one who can grant that permission. I gave it to you before you were even born. You must finally agree with me and say it out loud in a quiet room. Say it tonight, and the evening I showed you will start walking toward you. You do not have to fix your entire life before the sun comes up tomorrow. I only ask you to catch the familiar urge to perform when it rises in your throat. Catch it and let it die quietly in your mouth. Do absolutely nothing for 5 minutes. Sit in the uncomfortable silence and let my unconditional grace wash over your tired soul. The heavy chains break when you finally refuse to pull them. Your inheritance is waiting for you to simply claim it. Do not let the loud noise of the anxious world drag you back into the dark marketplace. Every time you choose to rest, you are declaring a holy war against the toxic lies that bound you. You are reclaiming the divine territory that was stolen from your exhausted heart. Keep the heavy door firmly closed on the merchant forever. You are incredibly safe inside my protective hands. You do not have to earn the very air you are breathing right now. The vast ocean of my affection requires no payment and no flawless resume. We are walking out of the dark woods together. Let the gentle wind dry the bitter tears on your tired face. Tomorrow will not be another exhausting audition. Tomorrow will be your first day as a true heir. The teaching is completely finished now. What is left is strictly between the two of us. Put the heavy notebook down and simply listen. I want to speak to you the way a father gently speaks at the end of a very long day. I am going to lower my voice for this last part, because this is absolutely not instruction. It is my holy blessing over your tired life. You came into this room carrying something you had stopped noticing you were actually carrying. You are absolutely not walking out with it tonight. What you are walking out with instead is much smaller and infinitely better. You are leaving with the quiet knowledge that your intense waiting had gentle hands carefully holding it. Someone in your family line will live differently. They will live freely because of what you bravely refused to pass down to them today. My steady one, you broke the terrible cycle of performing for affection by just sitting still. I promised to tell you about the magnificent room waiting on the other side of your exhaustion. I held that specific secret back until this very moment because you needed to drop your heavy armor first. You are finally ready to hear it. The quiet room behind your endless exhaustion is not completely empty. There is someone already standing in it who you have not met yet. They are not coming to rescue you from your daily chores or your heavy responsibilities. They are coming because of who you will have beautifully become by the time they finally arrive. That person is the true version of you. It is the radiant version of you who knows how to be deeply loved for doing absolutely nothing. That is the whole reason I would not open the heavy door early. You dared to bring your brokenness to me instead of perfectly hiding it. Because of that, I am moving you from the deep anxiety of a servant into the unshakable peace of an heir. You will no longer audition for love. You will no longer translate yourself into something much smaller just so that you can be easily received by broken people. You will say the true thing first and simply let other people adjust to it. And this massive shift will certainly not stop with you. The children in your house who are learning how to be a person by watching you will learn it from the new version. My beloved child, that is exactly what I am doing in your life right now. The heavy teaching is over and the divine work is completely finished. What happens next is entirely your choice to make. Put your hands on these powerful words and make them completely yours. Do it in your own writing and in your own holy name, not because it magically seals anything. You must do it because you will read it back one day and recognize your own beautiful voice in it. Right now you are someone who only heard this message. In 30 seconds you can easily be someone who boldly declared it. Those are two very different people, and the second one is much harder to defeat in the morning. That is not a cheap trick. It is how you always worked. I am not asking you for anything difficult tonight. There is no ledger between us, and there never has been. I am asking because a terrible thing that stays inside you can still be argued with tomorrow. But a powerful truth you have written down cannot be argued with quite so easily. I want you to plant a solid flag in the ground before you walk out of this holy room. Type, I am an HEIR. Put it in the comments below so the entire world can clearly see your final decision. Let this physical place know you stayed to the very end of the difficult journey. I read what my precious children write. Do not walk away without leaving your permanent mark on this moment. You are claiming your eternal inheritance and leaving the merchant behind. You are stepping into the warm light of a house you did not have to painfully build. Everything I came to say has been completely said tonight. What remains is what I have always wanted to say to you since the beginning. I love you exactly as you are. I have always loved you fiercely. Nothing you do tomorrow will ever change that absolute truth. You are fully known and deeply cherished. I am with you in the quiet kitchen at midnight. I am with you in the dark car when you are too tired to drive. I have always been with you. Now go. Walk out of here the way a true person walks when they have finally stopped auditioning for a place they already belong to. Do not rush back to the noise. Live freely. Go.